My name is Jason Little. It's been about a year-long process for me to come back to God. I grew up most of my life, I would say that I was a Christian, but it never really meant what it should to me. So I'd explain my walk with God as keeping Him always at arm's length. I knew He was there, I knew He loved me, but it was like I said, God, I'll let you know when I need you. I've got this handled. There's a lot of important people here today. Most of everybody in my life that's responsible for me standing here today is here, except for one. There's a young man in my life named Jordan. I kind of modeled my walk with God around who he was. He inspired me in a lot of ways. And one day, he was killed in a car accident. And this person that I had modeled my life with God with, and what inspired me to actually serve the Lord, was taken from me. And no matter how I looked at this situation, from my perspective, it was as if God had reached down and plucked him out of my life. And I couldn't accept that. And I went from keeping God at arm's length to just completely cutting him out of my life, including all of the people that had built me up and helped me in a lot of ways. And I changed my focus on my life to just things that to try and better myself. I felt like I lived in an uncaring universe with an indifferent God. I focused on things like philosophy and Buddhism and ways to live in a moral, character-filled life without Christ. If anyone asked me, I probably would have said I was a Christian, but I wasn't living that life. I went through a tour in Iraq. One of my friends here is with me that joined me for that. And I did it all on what I would say was my own power. Any good thing I could accredit to what I had done. And any bad thing just reaffirmed in my life that God didn't really want anything to do with me. Fast forward a bit, focusing all my life on my career. I found a job that I really liked. And after COVID hit, they put out a huge layoff, and I had to figure out kind of a little mode of rediscovery. I found myself driving truck, which was interesting, somewhere I never thought I would be, but it was really enticing to me because I could spend a lot of time listening to podcasts and meditating and listening to music. And I'm driving through the mountains one day, just kind of hanging out, enjoying the time. I had a fully loaded truck. And when you're shifting through your gears and you're going downhill, once it gets to a certain RPMs, you're not able to get into gear. And that's why you see the runoffs, exits, and the off-ramps in these mountain areas. And I noticed I was going a little too quick. Probably should have been well below the speed that I was at. And I had just gotten into the middle lane because I was gaining on the truck in front of me, and switched from 9th into 10th, and was trying to apply the brakes, and I wasn't getting any braking power because as you're going fast you lose friction, it heats up and starts to smoke. And when I tried to get into 10th gear, it wouldn't make it. It just sat in neutral, it was grinding, wouldn't go, the RPMs were way beyond 55 miles an hour, 65 miles an hour, 75 miles an hour. Got to about 80 miles an hour and I realized there was no way I was getting control of this vehicle. And I had to find a way out that caused the least collateral damage. So I was looking for these exit strategies and ways off the road, and how could I get out of here without hurting anybody else? If it's my life, that's fine, I can accept that. And in that moment of acceptance, all of my walls that I kept away, that I kept God at bay from, had just shattered and broken, and I'm looking for my way out. And I felt a pressure on my shoulder and a overbearing sense of peace. It's not something I had ever asked for. I didn't call to Jesus or anything like that, but there was a pressure with his hand on my shoulder. He had rushed in, and instead of holding him away from me or doing anything I could to keep him out of my life, he came in and he embraced me. And I still had quite a ways to go. It wasn't the first time I had been on that road. I had quite a ways to go down this mountain pass. And the slope had not in any way lost its steepness. I was just going fast, and the closer I got to the bottom of the mountain, the more traffic there was on the road. But I looked at my speedometer, it wasn't going up, the RPMs had leveled off, and I was keeping pace with the traffic around me. And it was like time had stopped, and God was just ministering to me in that moment. And I remember thinking to myself, where were you? And he just was like, I've always been here. And in the last year, it's been a journey of God just ministering to me and letting me look back on my life and showing me all the people that He's put in my life and all the things that He's spoken into my life, and saying, reassuring me, these are the ways that I've helped you, all these good things and how I've worked with you. And that moment in that truck, and every moment up until now, I don't want to go back. I know that I can't hold Him at arm's length. I'm here to give Him the complete authority in my life, and that's my commitment today. And I know I've proven to myself and to everyone I know, working on my own power, taking credit for all the things that are good in my life, it's not the way to go. It's only with Him that we can really move forward. So that's my story. Ready to get baptized.